and welcome to day 16 of my Christmas card making, and today I'm working with embossing folders and heat embossing. So this is a really cool technique using a 3D embossing folder. So you would think that it was metal, but then I've got the exact same embossing folder, but this time I have added the ink to the folder. So here we have it in silver and here we have it in gold, so it makes really luxurious cards. I've got a 3D embossing folder. These were both from Lisa Horton Crafts. I don't know if they're still available, but this is the Slimline range, and we're going to emboss directly into the card. So you want quite a good quality of card for this to work. So I'm going to line up the card, which is approximately 5 by 7, and then I'm going to run it through my embossing machine. So I don't want to mark the back of the card, so I'm using my Big Shot Plus. I've only got the green layer, and I'm putting the embossing folder directly onto it, but you will have to check your manufacturer's instructions. And then I'm laying one of my plates over the top, and then I'll run it through forwards and backwards. You can then see you've got a lovely emboss, but we want to add some gold to this, so you will need quite a sticky embossing pad. I quite often just run the top up glue to the embossing ink. This is called the Embossing Ink Pad Refill Conditioner and Freestyle Tool. You can use either this, or you could use the embossing dauber, which is clear, which you can run over, but in this case I'm quite confident that this is sticky enough, so I'm literally going to run the ink pad over the top of the emboss. I should also add that using this particular technique you do use a fair bit of the embossing powder, but it's such a luxurious finish that it's worth the effort, I think. So each one of these designs is different. On this particular one, it's really highlighting the leaves, so you can see the majority of the leaves have been caught. You'll have some excess where it's also caught, but you can either brush that away or incorporate it into the design. At this point I'm going to turn my heat tool on. I'm going to warm it up on the lowest setting, but when I come to heat emboss I'm actually going to turn it up to the high. So now we're going to add the ink to the embossing folder. So you need to work out which is the embossed side and which is the deboss. So the deboss is where you can go downwards into the folder. So the holly berries here are like a little dip in the folder, whereas on this side they're slightly raised. So we want to, because we're going to add the embossing folder to the background, we're going to add the ink to the deboss side. So again you could use the dauber and run it through. Because I don't quite know where the card is going to sit, I'm going to cover the whole plate. But equally you can run the ink over the plate, and then again we're going to line up our card. So the emboss is on the back because the card is going to push upwards. So again, I'm going to line it up, leave a little bit of a gap on this right hand edge, pull this over, and then I'll run it through the machine again. So again, it's embossed beautifully, but this time when we add the powder, you'll see that most of the background is covered. So here we've got number 2, where the embossing folder was, where the ink was added to the embossing folder, and here's number 1, where we embossed first and then we added the embossing powder. So let's see what they look like once they are heated. So I think you can see you get 2 pretty spectacular looking cards. So I'm going to leave those to cool down for a moment. Now it's time for some finishing touches. So I'm going to clean up this edge here with a little bit of sparkly gold washi tape. And I'm going to round off the corners. I'm going to bring in a couple of the SIZZIX Boltex Christmas dies that you saw me use yesterday. To bring in a pop of red to allude to the berries, I'm going to use 3 of my trusted red sequins. So here are today's 2 cards. You've got the gold embossing in the background and the gold embossing in the foreground. I think it works really well with the green. I have many more embossing folder techniques on my 2 videos that I'll leave you the links up above and down below. I think there's more than 12 different techniques that you can try. And here again is the same technique with the silver on the white and then the full sheet here. It really depends on the embossing folder how much ink is drawn up. It depends on the design, and then we have it in gold. I also think that the SIZZIX sentiment dies work really well with this type of card. Thank you once again for joining me on day 16 of my Christmas card making, and I look forward to welcoming you back to Elisabeth Hogarth Designs again tomorrow. Bye bye for now.